Anyone can look tough at the dock. The question every boat owner secretly asks is what actually happens when it goes bad out there. When the forecast lies, the seas build to 15 feet, and you're hours from shelter with no choice but to keep going. Some boats come apart, some boats come home. And the difference isn't luck. It's what the hull does when the water stops being friendly. By the end of this video, you'll know 7 trawlers that have proven themselves in genuinely brutal conditions and exactly how each one behaves when the weather turns ugly. Because number 1 has a reputation among ocean crossers that borders on legend. Before we start, let me give you the thing that will change how you look at every boat from now on. Bad weather isn't one thing. It comes in different flavors, and different hulls handle them differently. There's the short, steep, angry chop you get in shallow water and big lakes, which slams a boat over and over until things break and people get hurt. There's the long ocean swell, which is far bigger but gentler unless your boat rolls badly. Then it becomes exhausting and dangerous. There's the following sea, waves coming up from behind, where a badly designed hull can get shoved sideways and lose control. And there's cold, serious water, where the wind is relentless and a mistake has real consequences. A boat can be brilliant in one of these and terrible in another. So as we go through this list, I'm going to tell you not just that each boat is tough, but what specifically it does well when things go wrong. So you can match the boat to the water you actually cruise, starting at number 7. Number 7. The Nordic Tug 42. This boat earns its place because of how it handles the most underrated danger out there, the short, steep chop. That's the weather that ruins people. Not a dramatic ocean storm, but a nasty windy afternoon on a big bay or a shallow sound where the waves are close together and hit like hammers. A light, flat-bottomed boat in that water pounds so hard you can't stand up and things start breaking. The Nordic Tug 42 is different because of weight and shape. It's a semi-displacement hull with real mass and a deep, sharp forward section, so instead of slamming across the tops of those waves, it cuts down into them. Owners describe the difference as going from being beaten up to simply getting wet. And because it's still got some speed in reserve, you're not locked at 7 knots. If you see weather coming, you can push a little and get in ahead of it. That's a genuinely useful safety feature that the pure displacement boats can't offer. What it's not, this isn't an ocean crossing hull, and it'll roll more than a full displacement boat in a big swell. Match it to coastal cruising, and it's outstanding. The next boat is the opposite extreme, small, heavy, and unbothered by anything. Number 6, the Cape Dory 36. Here's the boat that proves the point most people refuse to believe. A small, heavy, properly designed boat is safer in bad weather than a big, light one. The Cape Dory 36 is built around a full keel and a genuinely heavy displacement hull, with the ballast down low where it belongs. What that gives you in a storm is stability that doesn't depend on you doing anything clever. The boat wants to stay upright. When a wave shoves it, gravity pulls it back. Slowly, predictably, no snap. Compare that to a tall, top-heavy cruiser twice the size, which rolls fast and hard and throws crew across the cabin. The Cape Dory also tracks beautifully in a following sea, which is where a lot of boats get into real trouble. That long keel keeps the stern from getting kicked sideways. And there's a practical bonus for a solo skipper or an older couple. It's small enough that one person can manage everything, even when conditions get busy. Big boats demand strength and crew exactly when you have the least of both. What to watch? These are older boats, so survey the deck core and the rig hardware. But in terms of pure safety per foot, few things beat it. The next boat was built like a working ship, not a pleasure boat. Number 5, the Hatteras Long Range Cruiser 48. The clue is in the name. Hatteras built this thing to cover serious distance, and they built it the way they built their sport fishing boats. Absurdly strong. Thick solid fiberglass, heavy structural framing, the kind of construction that makes surveyors nod approvingly 40 years later. What the LRC does well in bad weather is the thing that matters most on a long passage. It stays comfortable and predictable hour after hour after hour. Anybody can white-knuckle a boat through 20 minutes of rough water. The real test is 14 hours of it, when fatigue is the actual enemy, when tired people make mistakes, and a boat that beats you up becomes genuinely dangerous. The LRC's weight and hull form give a slow, heavy, deliberate motion that lets a crew keep functioning. Add serious fuel range and a proper pilot house where you can stand a watch in the dry, and you've got a boat that turns a nasty overnight run into something manageable instead of something you survive. What to watch? It's a big older boat, so systems and fuel tanks are the expensive unknowns. Survey hard. But the hull itself is a tank. The next one does all this, and barely anyone knows the name. Number 4, the Selene 47. This is the insider's ocean boat, a genuine full displacement passage maker that sells for meaningfully less than the famous names because the badge doesn't carry the same marketing weight. And what it does well in heavy weather is the quality that separates real ocean boats from pretenders, a soft, easy roll. Here's why that matters more than people realize. In a big ocean swell, the danger usually isn't the boat breaking. It's the motion. A boat with a quick, violent roll will exhaust and injure its crew long before the hull is in any trouble. The Selene's hull form and displacement give it that slow, gentle, predictable movement that experienced cruisers call sea kindly, and it makes the difference between a passage you can complete and one you have to abandon. It also carries proper fuel range, so you have the option to keep going, stand off, or divert instead of being forced into a bad harbor entrance in bad conditions, which is where a huge number of accidents actually happen. What to watch? These were built to good standards, but check the stabilizer systems and electronics on any boat this complex. Get one right, and you're buying 90% of the famous name capability for a lot less. The next boat has the roughest ocean on Earth in its name. Number 3, the Kadey-Krogen 48 North Sea. When a builder names a boat after one of the nastiest bodies of water in the world, that's a statement of intent. And Krogen backed it up. This is a full displacement hull built for the conditions where getting it wrong has real consequences. Cold water, relentless wind, big confused seas, and a long way to help. What it does well is combine two things that usually fight each other: genuine toughness and genuine comfort. The hull has that famous Krogen kindly motion, so the crew stays functional, and it's paired with the structure and the high bow to handle water coming aboard, rather than being overwhelmed by it. There's also a design detail worth understanding. On a boat like this, the pilot house is a proper enclosed, protected station, so you can stand watch for hours in genuinely awful weather without being exposed. That sounds minor until you've tried to steer a boat in freezing spray. Add enormous range and you have a boat that gives you options in bad weather instead of forcing your hand. What to watch? Complexity and age. Get the full service history. But this is a serious, no excuses cold water boat. The next one has a reputation among experienced cruisers that's almost absurdly good. Number 2, the Fleming 55. Ask experienced long-distance cruisers to name the boat they'd trust most, and this name comes up with a consistency that's genuinely striking. Fleming built these to a standard that borders on obsessive, extremely strong hull, meticulous systems engineering, redundancy where it counts, and hull lines refined over decades specifically for behavior in rough water. What the Fleming does best in heavy weather is stay controllable. That's the quality people underestimate. In really bad conditions, the frightening moments aren't usually about strength, they're about control. A boat that broaches in a following sea, or wanders or won't hold a heading while you're trying to run an inlet. The Fleming's hull form and its stabilization keep it tracking and predictable when things get chaotic, which is exactly what lets a crew make good decisions instead of reacting to emergencies. It also has the range and the pilot house to ride out weather properly. This is expensive, no getting around it, but it's the boat people buy when they've decided they're never going to be scared on the water again. What to watch? Honestly, with a Fleming, the question is maintenance history, not build quality. Which brings us to number 1, the boat that crosses oceans for a living. Number 1, the Nordhavn 57. This is number 1 because it isn't good at one kind of bad weather. It was engineered on the assumption that eventually you will meet all of them, far from help, and the boat has to bring you home anyway. Start with the hull. Full displacement, extraordinarily strong, built more like a small ship than a yacht. Then, the thing that really sets these apart, watertight compartments, so damage or flooding in one section doesn't take the whole vessel. Add active stabilizers that flatten out the roll on long ocean passages, a pilot house designed for standing watch for days, enormous fuel range, and redundancy through the critical system so a single failure isn't a crisis. That's a completely different design philosophy from almost everything else afloat. And it's why Nordhavns have a documented record of serious ocean crossings in genuinely hostile conditions. Here's what all of that actually buys you, in plain terms: options. In bad weather, the boats that get into trouble are the ones with no choices left, can't outrun it, can't ride it out, can't divert running low on fuel. A Nordhavn 57 almost always has another move. It can slow down and keep going for days. It can stand off a dangerous harbor and wait for daylight. It can take water aboard and shrug. You pay a lot for that. And what you're paying for is the confidence to be 1,000 miles offshore and treat a bad forecast as an inconvenience instead of an emergency. That's the whole video in one boat. Toughness isn't about surviving one wave. It's about never running out of options. So there they are, 7 trawlers, and exactly how each one behaves when the water turns serious. And here's what I hope you take away, because it's more useful than any single boat name. Match the boat to your water. If you cruise big shallow bays, you need something that handles steep chop without pounding you to pieces. If you're crossing oceans, you need soft motion and range so fatigue never becomes the emergency. If you're in cold northern water, you need protection and options. The boats that get people into trouble aren't usually weak. They're just the wrong boat for the conditions they ended up in. Now, knowing which boats handle weather is one half of the equation. The other half is whether you can handle the boat, especially as the years add up. So I made a video on the trawlers. One person can safely run alone, well past 65. It's right here, and it's the perfect next watch. And if you want more straight talk like this, subscribe, because the boat that changes everything for you might be in the next video. I'll see you there.